Today we're going to unlock the secrets of Diotimus, the Stoic who forged his fate. He was born into slavery in the 1st century AD in the Roman province of Africa, which is now part of Tunisia. But he didn't just accept his fate. Instead, he did something that was unheard of. He bought his freedom, became the wealthiest man in Rome, and even tutored the Emperor Hadrian, all while being a practicing Christian. When the Emperor Hadrian came to power, Diotimus went to him and offered his services as a tutor. But he remained true to his roots, never forgetting where he came from. This must have been a stark contrast to the decadence and excess that often characterized the Roman elite. The emperor was born into privilege, while Diotimus rose from the depths of slavery. From the accounts we have, it seems that Hadrian was quite impressionable. His personality was shaped significantly by those close to him, and Diotimus was one of the most influential figures in his life. We don't know exactly why Diotimus left Hadrian at this point, but it was probably because his role was no longer necessary. The emperor no longer needed a tutor. After all, he was now a seasoned ruler. Your support helps us bring these stories to a wider audience. Now let's get back to the video. If you've made it this far, you're clearly intrigued by the idea of turning your life around and forging your own destiny. Just like Diotimus, you too can escape the shackles of your current situation and create a future that you're excited about. Remember, you're not stuck where you are. You have the power to change your circumstances. It might not be easy, but it's definitely possible. So take the first step. Educate yourself. Invest in your personal growth and be relentless in your pursuit of knowledge. The world is full of opportunities, and all you need to do is grab them. Don't let your circumstances define you. Define yourself. Create your own story. Be the architect of your own fate. Perhaps Diotimus felt that he had done his job and it was time to move on to other pursuits. Or maybe he simply couldn't adapt to the shifting dynamics of the imperial court. Whatever the reason, their separation marked the end of a significant chapter in both of their lives. The young emperor was known for being quick to anger, but Diotimus taught him the value of patience and self-control. However, the impact he had on the emperor's life was profound and long-lasting. Even after their paths diverged, the lessons Diotimus had imparted to Hadrian stuck with him and continued to influence his decisions. Their relationship serves as a reminder that even the most powerful people in the world can learn valuable lessons from the most unlikely of sources. It was a former slave who taught one of the most powerful men of his time the true meaning of strength, not in the physical sense, but in the ability to control oneself and one's emotions. This isn't just a historical footnote. It's a timeless lesson in humility and the power of education. This wasn't just theoretical. It was practical advice for governing an empire. Rushing into decisions or letting emotions dictate actions could have disastrous consequences. Diotimus likely showed Hadrian how to channel his energy into effective leadership rather than reckless abandon. Yet it was the former slave who was able to guide the emperor on both philosophy and politics. Hadrian was a lover of knowledge and the arts, and Diotimus likely nurtured this side of the emperor. Together they probably discussed literature, philosophy and history, and this intellectual camaraderie likely formed a strong bond between them. This mutual respect and shared interests created an environment where open discussions could take place. Imagine the conversations that must have filled the halls of the emperor's palace. A former slave and an emperor debating Stoic principles and the best course for the empire. These weren't just lessons in philosophy. They were lessons in leadership. Hadrian learned how to rule with wisdom and grace from Diotimus. This included understanding the importance of public perception, maintaining dignity, and making fair and just decisions. It was a crash course in statecraft and diplomacy, all filtered through the lens of Stoic thought. This isn't just a tale of rags to riches. It's a story of how one man's thirst for knowledge and unwavering integrity could change not just his own life, but the life of an empire's heir. In the annals of history, Diotimus might be overshadowed by Hadrian. But without Diotimus's influence, Hadrian's story might have taken a very different turn. Despite his newfound position, Diotimus continued to live a simple life. He didn't indulge in the luxuries afforded to him by his wealth. Instead, he used his resources to help others, especially former slaves like him. He saw firsthand the injustices of slavery and was determined to use his fortune to make a positive impact. By helping ex-slaves, he was not only alleviating their suffering, but also creating a better world for himself and for everyone else. This was no small feat. The emperor had many advisors and tutors vying for his attention, but Diotimus stood out. He didn't just teach Hadrian about Stoic philosophy. He also helped him navigate the treacherous waters of imperial politics. This was a crash course in real-world application of his philosophy. As Hadrian's tutor, he wasn't just imparting abstract ideas about virtue and duty. He was showing the young emperor how to embody those ideals in the face of immense challenges. How did he do it? What can we learn from him? Let's find out. There are some people who seem to have an uncanny ability to make good things happen for themselves. Being a philosopher, a tutor to the emperor, a philanthropist, and a former slave all at once must have been incredibly challenging. Yet Diotimus somehow managed to excel in all of them. He was a true polymath, a master of many trades. Now here's the kicker. Despite his many accomplishments, Diotimus is remembered primarily for his relationship with Hadrian. While his other achievements are often overlooked, this is a testament to the impact he had on the emperor. Historians have analyzed Hadrian's life and reign extensively. In fact, there are hundreds of books written about him. This interest is understandable. Hadrian was a complex figure, known for both his brilliance and his flaws. His reign saw both great achievements and questionable decisions. Understanding the man behind the legend is crucial to understanding this era of Roman history. He saved up money from his earnings as a slave and eventually bought his freedom. Once free, he traveled around the Mediterranean, studying philosophy and rhetoric from some of the best teachers of the day. He wasn't satisfied with simply being a sponge, soaking up knowledge. He wanted to share it with others. So he started his own school, attracting some of the brightest minds of the time. His unique teaching style combined philosophical rigor with practical wisdom. He didn't just teach about virtue and self-control in theory. He lived it, demonstrating how these principles could be applied to everyday life. To his students, he was a living example of Stoic ideals. They appear to be lucky, but often there's more to their story than meets the eye. In the case of Demetrius, his life was anything but ordinary. It's not that he was born into wealth or privilege, far from it. He started out as a slave. But what set him apart was his insatiable curiosity and his relentless pursuit of knowledge. Even as a young slave, he would spend hours listening to philosophers and soaking up their ideas. This wasn't just idle curiosity. It was a way for him to forge his path in life. See, philosophy wasn't just a hobby for Demetrius. It was a tool to help him escape the shackles of his circumstance and craft a future of his own design. And let me tell you, the kind of philosophy he embraced wasn't your typical airy-fairy, feel-good mumbo-jumbo. It was the no-holds-barred, real-deal Stoicism. As he grew older, Demetrius began to plan his escape from slavery. But Demetrius wasn't content to live in obscurity. He wanted to use his philosophy to make a real difference in the world. In this high-pressure environment, it would have been easy for Diogenes to get lost in the machinations of court life. It's hard to imagine how he managed to balance the competing demands of these roles. What makes Diotimus's role in Hadrian's life particularly fascinating is the contrast between their backgrounds. Let's examine how he influenced the emperor's personality. But it wasn't just about tempering Hadrian's negative traits. Diotimus also encouraged the emperor's positive ones. Unfortunately, their relationship didn't last forever. Like all good things, it came to an end when Hadrian took the role of emperor seriously and decided to leave Athens. While Hadrian went on to become one of the most prominent emperors in Roman history, Diotimus faded into the background. And if you're enjoying this series, please consider supporting us.